I put up something that pokes fun at white people, which is always good.
Yep, white people fucking suck.
Yeah, they're assholes. We'll find out.
Enemies become friends. Friends become enemies.
That right there is gold. We could just end it right now. Beautiful.
and we're spent. Hello and welcome to the DBLBACK Podcast. This is an opportunity for me and some of my good buddies, a robust contingent of gentlemen, to talk about some topics of the day, of the week. We got to double back with one another just so we can stay up on all the stuff we feel like we need to. So think of it as you sitting in a bar and the group of guys in the booth next to you is way too loud. We welcome you to join in on the conversation, or at least eavesdrop on us. I'm your host, Brent. I do like to have staring contests with Rams, but they do tend to win. Who else is out there?
Hey, this is Dave, editor-in-chief of DBLBACK. I am having some Mac issues right now, and they make me sad.
This is Keith. Do social media, so if you get offended by any tweets, it's probably because of me. You should probably toughen up a little bit.
Thick skin is necessary if you put your ears to a DBLBACK podcast. As we've learned each and every time, the vulgarity flows.
Anything's up for grabs, really.
iTunes asked me whether or not this thing was going to be explicit, and I don't think I've ever clicked anything faster in my life.
No doubt. That's muscle memory right there.
So what's going on with you guys this week?
March Madness. Tell you what, man. My whole bracket is fucked.
So you're not getting the billion?
No, I mean, I did not partake in that. I mean, statistically speaking, you're an idiot to think you even stand a chance at that. Warren Buffett is not just going to give you $1 billion of his money.
To give you guys, you listeners out there who don't have the benefit of being here in our time frame right now, this is Thursday night, the first night of the tournament, and Keith's bracket is already fucked beyond belief.
I'm pretty straight and narrow, man. Like, I don't use any other than caffeine. Dude, I'm on straight and narrow, and I picked Cincy to go way too deep into the fucking tournament. And Harvard. I even went on one of our contributors, Eric, made a post earlier in the week as a preview, and I had the audacity to say the only way Harvard is going to beat Cincinnati is if we go off collective IQ. And then I had to follow up that comment with Harvard just beat Cincinnati. I'm inserting my foot in my mouth right now.
Harvard just beat Cincinnati and pegger slapped Keith right in the face.
Honestly,
Harvard's having a good day in general.
Yeah, you said that once already.
You're right, I did. Areola.
We don't have a safe word tonight.
No, there's always the safe word, Keith.
Is that just
moving our lesson?
All right, that's just moving forward. I understand now.
So I think this is a good thing to settle right now. For those of you that listened to the first episode of the DBLBACK Podcast, our safe word of the night was areola, and that was for Keith when he needs to win the podcast. But I think with you two gentlemen right here, with the three co-founders, the three men on the Mount Rushmore of DBLBACK, I think we need to decide, is there going to be a new safe word every single week?
It's a good question. I think that the fact that I even need a safe word, I feel like a fucking zoo animal.
you know, Dave, I think the smart thing to do would just be leave the decision up to you and I and completely exclude Keith from it.
Yeah, I don't even know why I have a say in this, because
otherwise we're just going to need to use the safe word multiple times within the context of the conversation about the safe word, and it's going to get all meta and weird because we're safe wording a safe word before the safe word is, even decided upon.
The simple answer is just to keep it simple, stupid, and areola will be the safe word of the podcast.
All right, that's fair. It's easy to remember. When you dropped in meta earlier, makes me think about Ron Artest, artist formerly known as Ron Artest, now known as Meta World Peace. Do you think he's going to get his own signal?
Like a bat signal?
Well, no, like a Prince signal, like a Prince
symbol.
Oh, like a symbol. Oh, like a symbol. He might.
Yeah, not the fucking musical instrument, guys. I'm talking symbolization, if that's a word.
Symbology.
And then how about my boy Phil Jackson, man? Full circle. He won a championship with the Knicks as a player, and now he's back as president of operations. And they fucking spanked. Well, they didn't spank, but they beat the Pacers.
And and he can barely walk.
Whatever. He's 6'8". The knees got to be shot.
I can't imagine how awful his knees must feel for him to look like that when he's
fucking bone on bone, man. There's no cartilage in there.
Oof.
I can't imagine what that guy could do with that ownership group to make them better. It's not like they're like 1 or 2 pieces away. They are pretty fucked, especially if Carmelo leaves at the end of the year. He is not a young guy. He's not a spring chicken that's sticking around for a while. It's not like Pat Riley 10 years ago when he took over the front office for the Heat. This guy's 68 or 69 and wasn't even making road trips last time he was with the Lakers. So I don't know what's going on, what kind of impact he thinks he's going to make.
I think that at the end of the day, he'll be able to attract talent. I think people listen to him. He's got a track record. What's that game where you press the button and then all the pieces like fly? Yeah, one of those games where you press that shit in the middle and all the pieces fly. That's what they need to do in New York. They just need to hit the fucking button, let the chips fall where they may.
At the end of the day, some franchises are just in the shitter because they're in the shitter.
I just like to see them return to the forefront of basketball. I mean, it's the mecca of basketball, and to see it in such a state, it's kind of sad.
So your bracket is fucked after one day. So you're saying you're 9.2 quintillion to 1 chances
Became a lot worse.
Are already worse.
Yeah, I'm fucked.
That's a shame, buddy.
Well, I mean, I like Cincinnati's closeout defense. So I'm like, they're gonna whoop these Ivy League boys' asses. And to be quite fair, I mean, Harper's been playing good ball. Cincinnati was not toward the start of the tournament, so I should have seen it coming, and I just made a bad call. And I even had Ohio State beating Dayton.
Yeah, the Big Ten apparently already just looks like they didn't belong.
They got a good showing in the NIT, which is funny. And I also noticed, I saw last night that that's the oldest run.
Yeah.
1938 is when it got started. So it's
I believe I saw 38. Yeah, I did not realize that. That's what you get for following K Heg on Twitter, folks. Hit him up at KHEGGG. Don't
3
forget
G's.
the third G.
So what's going on with you, Brett? I haven't seen you in a while, man. Everything good?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I did see a really cool article that I thought I probably need to get up on the site. Apparently some kid was just randomly searching Google Earth because that's what preteens do now. And
instead of playing outside and involving themselves in sports, they just search Google Earth.
He was searching Google Earth and found an island somewhere in the Pacific, I believe.
I heard about this.
And found an SOS sign. And sure enough, when the helicopter arrived, they found a woman who'd been trapped there for 7 years. She had lost signal. She'd lost electrical on her boat. She was on a boat with 2 friends, and a storm wiped out their electrical to begin with. Went about another week just trying to kind of floating adrift and surviving on water, and another storm came. She got knocked out. When she woke up, she was on a desert beach surrounded by the shattered splinters of her boat. Her friends were gone, and she was on a fucking island with feral goats, like straight up Castaway shit. I don't know if she had a Wilson or not, but she had to learn how to fend for herself. She had to learn how to extract water out of the rock just to survive.
First of all, 7 years, like 7 days would be taxing. 7 weeks, like
7 years.
Yeah, 7 years. Now, I will say this, and leave it to me to be an asshole about the situation, because I'm not known to do that. But waking up on a desert beach, like her car, she could have not had a better turnout. I would have woke up and I would have been floating some open water type shit with a bunch of sharks around me. At least she's on land, you know what I mean?
That's a good point. I mean, what are the odds of actually getting shipwrecked and in the middle of the sea and ending up on a deserted island?
No doubt.
That can't be a realistic, probable.
No, about as likely as winning the bracket with Warren Buffett, probably.
9.2 quintillion to 1.
Yeah. I mean, honestly. And so I think that was like just.
It's fate.
I think so. Pretty close, even though I don't really believe in that shit. But yeah, I mean, it's predetermined, it seems like. Because, how does that happen?
Yeah, it happened.
People are hollering at me. Oh, it's from our fearless editor-in-chief.
Uh-oh.
He's having first world problems with his Mac.
Yeah, unbeknownst to the podcast listeners, unless you were really just hanging on the every word of the one, the only Dave Fultz, He is missing from the podcast right this moment. So it's just Keith and I trying to vibe and just, make it work, hoping that our fearless leader does, in fact, arrive again. And if not, then maybe we'll just take the opportunity to speak poorly of him. No, but back to O-Girl. Like, she apparently was, like, taunted by the goats. At one point, the goats were just, like, kind of coming up to her to the point where that she could touch them, and they just knew that she was so freaked out she wouldn't. And then, sure enough, she was, like, hunting. She was walking the beach hunting for crabs and heard some crazy noises, looked over, and one of the goats was caught in the netting on the beach.
Okay.
And she realized it was her opportunity to actually eat meat.
Yeah, we can. We're in the middle of a story, Dick.
All right, sorry, my fucking computer jacked off.
No, you're good.
No, it's fine. But anyway, so she saved the goat, and was that a peace offering between her and the feral goats? Like, did they live in harmony after that moment?
Hang on.
This was the weirdest fucking story to come into the middle of.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
It was.
I'm in it. I need to know.
All right. No, I'm with you guys. I'm with you guys now. There's feral goats. And,
Brett, did they form a commune?
Wow.
It's an awesome story. Were you listening? You probably weren't.
No. My entire computer just stopped working.
So to catch you up, I'll probably actually put it up on the site. But there was a girl. It's basically real life Castaway. There was a girl that got shipwrecked out in the Pacific. Ended up on a boat and ended up on a deserted island after a second storm came and smashed up her boat. Nice. She's living on this deserted island for 7 years. There's feral goats on the island. She's having to make shit just work, fucking Castaway style. And the goats were like taunting her. They would come up so close that she could touch them, but like they kind of knew she wasn't going to do anything to them because she was freaked out. Yeah. So after a period of time, she actually found her opportunity. There's a feral goat in netting on a beach. And she goes up to this goat and she's like, this is my opportunity to eat protein and like maybe have more energy to do the things I need to do, like chop down that tree with a clamshell. And she found a sharp rock and started bashing the goat's head.
Wow.
And she said it took her like hours to kill the goat by doing that.
So there's no happy ending?
There is a happy ending.
Wait a minute, though. I mean, she didn't form a commune with the feral goats? I thought they were going to live in harmony.
Sadly, it did not become a political system of goat-human hierarchy that turned into a happy-go-lucky conga line of goats and woman. But she did get to eat some goat meat after bashing the goat's head in over and over and over. The way I led with the story was actually the happy part. She eventually got picked up because a helicopter showed up or a plane showed up over this island. And when they finally made contact with her, she was like, "How did you find me?" And they were like, "A little boy in the Midwest of America found you on Google Earth."
Holy
She'd been there for
fuck.
7 years. She'd been there for 7 years, and she was like, "What's Google Earth?"
Oh my goodness.
Imagine that. 7 years of complete just being on an island, man. Fucking Tom Hanks style.
She said like at the beginning, just trying to, it took her, I think, 4 weeks to build a fire for the first time. Can you imagine how just gut-wrenchingly awful that would be? Every night on a deserted island, there's these feral fucking goats making all sorts of weird sounds, and you can't even light a fire. You're a grown-ass human, and you can't make a fire for 4 weeks. She said every little task was just so exhausting. She had to like cut down this tree with a sharp clamshell or whatever, and had she just had a machete, like had she had one instrument, one tool, like everything would have been that much easier. So she started off like super out of shape, would get winded and shit. She said by the end of it, she had this whole like workout regimen where she was doing chin-ups on a branch and push-ups in the sand and running like 300-meter sprints and like pushing boulders, like pressing.
Is she an American? Because she should go out for the Olympic team.
I want to say she was from the UK. I don't remember off the top of my head. I'd have to look at the article again.
Yeah. Do it right
basically, what I was going to comment on this whole thing is I think I'm too big of a pussy. If I actually beat the odds and my boat was wiped out and I still ended up on a deserted island, I'd give up so quick.
Well, Dave, and that's something that you missed out on too, is like, what are the fucking odds? Like, she's out at sea, knocked unconscious, and then awakes on an island. You know what I'm saying? Like, you should be in some open water type shit with sharks. Like, there's no way you're going to land on land. That shit ain't happening.
Wow. I think at some point there was a turn between, like you said, by the end she had her workout regimen, she was ready to go. At some point she had to go from timid girl who only eats accidentally captured goats to the goat slaughterer of this island.
I would argue that was probably the moment. Like,
yeah.
You have to reach some like depths of like your biology to be able to sit there and bludgeon an animal to death with a rock over its head. I'd have to be really hungry and really desperate to like openly do that and just know that was necessary for survival. So that probably made her grow up pretty damn quick.
Dude, you're in an insulated cube farm. I mean, no offense, but like you would come to grips with that pretty quick, I think. You know, I mean,
I'm not anymore, fella.
Fuck you for that.
I think the reality of holy shit, I just woke up and this is actually happening. I think that would snap me out of any squeamishness that I had. I'm woefully out of shape, but I think I could take down a feral goat if need be. I don't know. Maybe I'm overestimating my ability. But I think I could, Terry Tate, office linebacker, take down a goat and bludgeon it to death.
Need I remind you, flappy wings, like literally 7 minutes ago? Do we not learn from our mistakes? Yo, I'm going to murder this fucking game. Wow, I got 1 point.
Yeah, I guess
your sheer confidence momentarily over every situation is enviable, Dave.
Yeah.
But I think, let's be honest, there is a bit of an overconfidence to you, which I dig.
I like that about him. Terry Tate, a feral fucking goat, and you get 1 on. Let's get to 10 on flappy wings, and then we can start talking feral goats. I think that's fair. Let's do this in baby steps.
I really wish there was a way to simulate this. Like, I don't want to be stuck on an island for 7 years. Fuck that. I think I would really have to do some serious double backing if I was on an island for 7 years.
Hey, there is a way to simulate this.
It's
called Survivor.
I understand that, but then you have producers poking around. You got to deal with other people. Like, I wish that somebody would sign their life away, right? Let's say we've got some guy who really, really, really wants to be famous.
Let's give him a name.
Right? Let's say
Bartholomew Williams.
Okay, so Bart Williams he's a little down on his luck. He crunches some numbers in his cube farm every day, goes home, doesn't really like his wife so much, but he yearns to be famous. He really yearns to be famous. So Bart is approached by a television executive who knows what kind of dire straits this guy is in. He says, Bart, sign this contract and you will be famous beyond belief. Beyond belief. Once you sign it, I will transfer a couple $1 million into your account so that you know this is legit, but you don't get to know when you're going to be famous. You don't get to know how this is going to happen. Then one day, someone kidnaps this fucker in his sleep, tosses him on an island. He signs all sorts of waivers ahead of time so that nobody can get in trouble for this. But they kidnap him, throw him on this island, and it's Truman Show meets Castaway, and Bart has to survive. That would be a fucking show I would watch forever.
Wow.
All right, the level of intensity that you brought right there, damn, dude. I'm scared right now. Like I think
me too. And I don't know if I'm scared because of how passionate you are, or that you just genuinely like want to do that to Bart.
I know. What did Bart do to you? And how did they intimately know his dire straits? Like, what's going on? Like, are they inside his head?
He'd have to be in Truman Show already to know how bad Bart's life is.
No, let's say, for example, Bart has a brother-in-law who's a television executive, and he brings this to his boss because he wants to get ahead in the world. I would say overnight, Bart would be the most famous person on the planet. Like, this would be the most popular thing that ever happened.
Honestly, just listening to you talk right now, like, I want to go pitch somebody an idea about Bart Williams.
All right.
It's like the Joe Schmo show meets Castaway.
See, I want it to be real. And I want no producers on the island. All of the cameras are stationary. I want this to be real. Think about how popular Hunger Games is. If we had a real Hunger Games and Bart Williams was fighting feral fucking goats to survive, this shit would be the most popular thing on the planet.
No, let's take it a step further. Can we marry Lord of the Flies and Hunger Games with feral goats? Because I feel like there needs to be some like little British children. You know what I'm saying? Like chasing these boars, and then like Bart could get fucked up by those little kids. Like Ralphie was a mean little bastard. You know what I'm saying?
I think maybe you introduce the kids in like season 5 or season 6 when ratings are starting to wane.
When is there a hatch? I just don't understand. Like, I'm following this.
Yeah.
I do think it would be a hit, but like, how do you actually navigate how to actually do this? Like, you can't broadcast that. No, you can't. You can't broadcast it from day one. Say Bart really doesn't quite get how to survive on the desert island and like impales himself with bamboo after like
you would hope for that.
Hours.
That's ratings gold.
You know what happens there, Brent, is he doesn't get a season 2, you know?
Boom.
I'm just going to go ahead and say this right now. Trademark Keith, Brent, and Dave. Trademark doubleback.com. Nobody better steal this fucking idea. I feel like it would be great if we could somehow make a service, start a business where we just come up with indie band names. We use the podcast partially as a service for this, and indie bands pay us in like Funyuns.
So,
yeah, man.
So did you guys ever see the video where they showed up at Coachella and just made up band names?
Yeah, that's Jimmy Kimmel.
They asked the hipsters to like tell them if they were into certain bands or not, no matter what crazy stupid name they came up with.
No, this is the name that was my favorite. Hey, what do you think about Neil Patrick Harrisman? Do you think they're going to be doing really well? I'm like, are you serious? Like
Without fail, every time they said one of these names, like some 17-year-old girl with flowers in her hair would be like, "Oh, they're my favorite. They're just so inspirational right now. I can't even get enough of them."
Yeah, I really hope they make it big time and they break through. It's like this woman just took Neil Patrick Harris's name. It's like, are you an idiot? Like, yeah, it was pretty good. Jimmy Kimmel's good, man. He's got a lot of that stuff.
Was that Kimmel?
Yeah, it was Kimmel.
So, speaking of late night, have you guys watched any of the new Tonight Show or the new Seth Meyers show? Because I haven't really done too much of it.
No.
Fallon, I'm all on top of. Myers, I've seen like one episode, and I wasn't super impressed. But that's how I felt when Jimmy first took over late night too. So,
yeah.
I think it's a little ironic that they tapped 2 guys from SNL. Like, you know, I don't know. I mean, Seth Meyers is okay, but
I don't think it's an accident. I loved Seth Meyers on Weekend Update. He was, in my opinion, the best, Weekend Update for the last 15 years, including Tina Fey and Amy Poehler. I just like Seth better. But I don't think it's any accident that they took those guys from what is the, probably the most famous lineup of, SNL over the last couple decades and threw them into late night. All those guys.
Jimmy Fallon does good. I like his, they do like Pictionary, and then they do like battle shots. Like he had Kate Upton doing Flippy Cup. Like I can get behind a lot of the stuff that he's doing. I think it's fun. I think he's fresh. I think they're really planning for the future, man. I think you could do 10 years with him easy.
I really love the fact that like they've embraced a young crowd, because like, Leno was doing the Tonight Show for the people older than our parents in reality. Like, he wasn't even like playing to our parents' demographic. He was playing to the people that still had come off of Carson and loved Carson, and that was all he really aspired to please. And the fact that Fallon has totally embraced like the Gen Xers, the Gen Yers, like it's incredible to me that is the face of late night now. And not even it's the Tonight Show. Like the fact that there's a hashtag segment on the Tonight Show just says something to me about like either the fact that I'm really old now, or like that they're actually playing to the market they should be.
Well, yeah, it's a successful rebranding effort. I think that they saw what was happening and they got out in front of it before it really started to shit. I mean, like I said, 10 to 15 years from now, I think Jimmy Fallon could still be relevant. I mean, I look back at his audition tapes for SNL. The guy was hilarious.
Yeah.
His SNL audition tape was fantastic. He was not ostentatious. He was very humble, but he was just funny and delivered. And I think he carries himself well. And, he's a marketable young guy. I think it's pretty cool.
I think it's really
I like
cool.
Jimmy Fallon. I hated him on SNL just because, yes, while he was talented, he broke character all the time. Actually, I didn't hate him because of that. A lot of people hated him because of that. But I just never felt like he was in the right space on SNL a lot of times. But the Tonight Show and the Late Show, it's perfect for him because he's so likable and he's so talented.
And when you break character and laugh in a situation like late night, it makes you more likable. It makes you more endearing.
Yeah, right.
I think it's really cool that a lot of these shows are getting like super participatory. Like you mentioned the hashtag game. There's also the At Midnight game, which features a lot of the people from Nerdist or whatever. We've played at Doubleback. We've played the At Midnight hashtag game sometimes, and it's really cool to be able to write like super short form comedy like that. Some of it is like pretty, pun filled and really.
It was good.
So, yeah, but some of it's kind of crass and stupid, but you really can see people who have a knack for it thriving. Like it's crazy how many comedians or actors who want to get out there a little bit more on social media play those sorts of games and see a crazy social following because of it.
Well, I think it's a sign of the times. I mean, and I also think it's a sign of the times with journalism, just because we're seeing these old models and systems being flipped on their head, and you kind of have to get out there in the streets and rub elbows with people, man. I mean, to really make an impact.
Leno did that. They're not even taking it to the streets. Like that's the coolest part is there's a whole group of people just sitting on the internet waiting to interact,
Yeah.
And that's what we at Doubleback are trying to engage is that group of people that are just sitting and waiting to be inspired to interact.
What are you guys looking forward to next week, man?
Well, I mentioned this to you earlier, and you called me a big fucking nerd, but I'm gonna throw it out there again. I've been binge watching Star Wars: The Clone Wars on Netflix. It's new on Netflix, like in the last week or so. All seasons of the show got launched, and then the last season that got canceled and fucked around with, they threw it up on there. And I've been watching that, and I'm still going to probably continue to watch that in my spare time.
Nice.
You can tell that, it was made for, a younger audience, but it's a closer representation to what I remember Star Wars being than any part of any of the sequel or prequel movies.
I just downloaded the new 311 album.
Nice.
I think Topher and Adam would echo my statements that 311 is one of these bands I just can't quit. I mean, I thought they were amazing when I was in 8th grade, and still thought they were amazing, by the time I was ready to hit junior year of college, and then just album after album of disappointment. And this one I'm actually kind of into. So just diving in real hard with the 311. I actually just kind of got into Tyler, the Creator. Keith, I feel like that might be a good conversation for later, but so I'm kind of diving into him as well. So I'm just trying to get some new tunes in my ears.
For me, I'm noticing I'm going to nerd out a little bit like Dave did. I found this thing called Ingress, 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 and it's this app that you can download through Google Play, and it's Google's take on augmented reality. It's kind of a trip. So
nice.
Yeah, I mean, I'm having a hard time getting into the actual gameplay, but they do have 3 novels they've released that I've been reading. So I'll probably be getting into that. I'll probably do a little write up on it like in the weeks to come. But
sweet.
Yeah,
look forward to it.
Yeah,
that'll show up again on DBLBACK.com. DBLBACK. I think that about does it for the evening, right, gents?
Yeah,
I think so.
Got some new brain girth going on for all of us, and hopefully you can join us for the next dose. So hit us up in all the normal methods. We're on Facebook, DBLBACK, at DBLBACK on Twitter. Definitely hop on, check out some of the stuff on the site. Hit up the podcast, share it with your friends, and we'll see you all next time. Finger guns.
Finger guns,
boys.